Absolutely. I guess what I was speaking about there was just around what people are doing with all their surplus income now, because a lot of people discretionary spend, food, going out, entertainment, etc. And so, when we talk about rainy day funds, that now's the time you need it. A lot of the time, people can't always associate the purpose of saving money, and they assume they can just put money under their mattress or their pillow, and that's all that it needs. The whole point of saving is that you're going to need money at some point in the future, okay, to make an acquisition, to buy an asset, to do something that is greater than what your normal income allows, okay? Now, it's more than just putting the money under a pillow. It's about keeping pace with inflation, at least, or beating inflation. So what's inflation? So think of the average basket of goods, okay, that you buy. Now, if that average basket is £100, inflation is the speed at which that average basket would rise over time, okay? So if you have £100 right now and you can buy a basket of goods, if in 5 years' time you go to buy that same basket, it will probably cost you £105. So all of a sudden, that £100 you had pace of inflation. Has it probably frozen again? Oh, you're back.
No, you're dead there. You're still there. You're still there.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking about inflation, so if you're saving money, the first thing you want to do is at least keep pace with inflation, so that your buying power of the money you have is still going to be strong in years to come. Okay. So in January this year in the UK, inflation was about 1.8%. So you want to make sure that if you're saving money, you're at least getting 1.8% on the money you're saving, if not more. The problem you've got though is that the Bank of England base rate has been cut to 0.1%, which is the lowest it's ever been, certainly in my lifetime. Okay. Now that presents opportunities, but also disadvantages. With base rate being at 0.1%, if you're a borrower, if you have a mortgage, you have a loan, okay, that affects it. So that means that you're probably paying less on your mortgages and your debt. The problem is when you're a saver, you're not getting much for your money, because base rate is so low at the moment that you have to do a bit more work to find a better return for your money. Okay. So what that means is you're going to have to look further afield. So looking at things like deposit accounts, where you lock your money in for a period of time, means that you normally get a better rate of interest. If you go into the internet right now and look at some of these type of accounts, most of the high street banks are offering it, where they pay you a bit more for your money than what you'll get if you look at base rate. But as a result, it normally means there's some restrictions in terms of how much money you can put in and when you can actually access your money as well. Okay, so there are some restrictions there, but essentially, if you're not keeping pace with inflation, then the money you're saving is basically you're losing buying power every day, right? So that's really the first rule of saving. So during this quarantine time when everyone's at home, have a look around and look at what options you've got really in terms of making your money work for you, because ultimately that's what you're going to rely on when you come to spend it. But also take advantage of things like ISAs. That's a tax-free saving vehicle, right? If you have an ISA, you have £20,000 allowance every year that you can put into an ISA, and you don't pay any interest on the money you make from that. Okay, I know people who've built millions in ISAs over years, because every year they subscribe to the full ISA allowance each year. If you've got a partner, they do the same. So each year, you're looking at 20,000 each in an ISA, tax-free. Okay.
Yeah.
Now a lot of people. Oh, absolutely. You've got between now, you've got from now up until the 5th of April 2021 to put £20,000 into an ISA, right? And it's as simple as that. So that's another vehicle. Now, depending on what stage of life you're in at the moment, people might look at things like lifetime ISAs, and that's slightly different. So if someone's looking to buy a property or looking at a retirement vehicle, you can look at a lifetime ISA. But be careful of that, because the lifetime ISA has restrictions. You either use it to buy a property or you use it as a retirement vehicle. If you're buying a property, it has to be worth less than £450,000. That's when you can use a lifetime ISA for it. The whole benefit of it, though, is that you can save £4,000 a year in it. The government will give you £1,000 for every £4,000 you save. So effectively, you're making some money on there, on top of whatever interest you're earning as well. Okay, so that's another vehicle as well. So I think this whole epidemic has given people the opportunity really to sort of press the reset button, to reassess their situation and kind of look at what is it that you're spending your money on, and how important will it be going forward. because you've had a period of time where you can really reflect and think, well, how important were all these things I was spending my money on? You know, and a lot of the time people are caught in the cycle where their income is so much that they can never really get out of the current circumstances. So some people stay in the overdraft for ages because their income is never greater than their overdraft. But when you've had this period where you've not been spending money, you've had some additional surplus income. What have you been doing with that, right? You know, some people can use this to perhaps maybe reduce some of their borrowings that they've got. Or if you've never saved at all, now is the time to start saving, quite frankly, right? Because we don't know what reality is going to look like or what normality will be once we come out of this. So I think having, you know, your affairs in order at this time is super important, I would say.
Somebody asks, you have to be 18 to make an ISA, don't you?
Yes, correct. So if you're less than 18, then there are junior ISAs that, you know, parents and guardians can set up for you. But, you know, I would think most of, you know, your followers or people who are watching this probably will be 18 or over. But yes, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That helped. That trust me. That me get some information there. Where me I go use